China's #1 supply chain finance technology platform has just chosen the XRP ledger to ultimately run their global finance supply chain. This is pretty huge news, and we're not going to waste any time. We're going to be getting into it. This has been reported so far by the Financial Times, by Europe Business Magazine, but we're going to be focusing on, they're very much saying the same thing, those two articles, but the Financial Times, I think, puts it a little bit more eloquently. We are going to very much be focusing on the Financial Times article. And this announcement is that Link Logis and the XRP Ledger have announced a strategic partnership to advance global digital supply chain finance applications. Now, the XRP Ledger can't really partner with anybody because it's ultimately a distributed global ledger that people can choose to build upon. And really what this should have said was Link Logis have chosen XRP to conduct their operations, which really are in the sort of billions of dollars in regards to what they actually process. We'll get into all of that. This is huge news, and those dominoes are falling. Now the XRP lawsuit, or the Ripple, Brad and Chris lawsuit, is no more. I do think you're going to see people coming out of the woodworks in regards to things that they've probably been working on for a hell of a lot of time, but now can actually come out and publicly say it. This is perhaps one of those. So to read the opener before we dive into some stats, Link Logis and XRP Ledger announced a strategic partnership to advance global digital supply chain finance applications. This is from China Media Outreach Newswire on the 25th of August, which was yesterday. Recently, Link Logis, a leading Chinese supply chain fintech service provider, announced a strategic partnership with XRPL, the XRP Ledger, a globally renowned enterprise-grade blockchain solution. The two parties will jointly facilitate the development of Link Logis global digital supply chain finance applications on the XRP Ledger mainnet and drive its large-scale commercialization. Now, some of you are most definitely hearing about this company for the first time. They are China's #1 supply chain finance technology platform. They're backed by the likes of Tencent, Standard Chartered, which I may remind people, back in 2016 were one of the early investors or made a strategic investment into Ripple. They're driving a lot towards XRP and Ripple as a company. GIC and CITIC Capital. So since its founding in 2016, it has processed over 1.5 trillion RMB, which is round about $200 billion plus in supply chain assets. It serves over 2,500 plus anchor enterprises, 330,000 small to medium enterprises, and 27 global markets. In 2024 alone, its platform handled, the platform on which they're looking to integrate the XRP Ledger, 411 billion RMB, which is around about $56 billion in transactions, cementing its role as one of the leading digital bridges between enterprises, financial institutions, and small to medium enterprises. These guys have announced that they're going to be using the XRP Ledger. We'll get into it and the Financial Times report in just one second. Before I do that, just to emphasize how big this company is, this is from Media Outreach Newswire. It says Link Logis releases 2024 annual results. Accumulating transaction volume reached 411.2 billion RMB. Cash balance totaling 5.1 billion. So this is the kind of transaction volume that these guys do, and they're ultimately looking to leverage the XRP Ledger. It says, in 2024, amidst macroeconomic volatility and ongoing policy support in the supply chain finance technology sector, Link Logis resolutely implemented the dual wheel development model of strategic focus plus innovation driven, boosting continued business growth. The total transaction volume processed by its technology solutions reached 411.2 billion RMB, a 28% year-on-year increase. Rather insane. It also goes on to say in 2024, the number of anchored enterprises and financial institution customers for LinkLogic's supply chain finance technology solutions, which are looking to embed XRP in, increased by 373 to reach a total of 1,108, an increase of 51% from 2023. This is 2024's books. They have released a little bit of a report in regards to stablecoin deployment and things like this, which is interesting. This is in 2025. The prior report, of course, is from 2024. They do say, though, in 2025 so far, the total transaction volume processed by its technology solutions reached 203 billion RMB. Let's continue with this article. It says, as the core, or at the core of this collaboration, LinkLogic will integrate its global digital supply chain finance platform onto the XRP ledger mainnet to enable the circulation and cross-border settlement of digital assets backed by real-world trade flows. This partnership not only marks its entry into the global decentralized financial ecosystem, but also demonstrates the company's continued innovation in cross-border trade finance. Looking ahead, the two sides will explore deeper collaborations in areas such as stablecoins and supply chain finance innovation, including smart contract-based trade of supply chain finance, real-world assets, and the convergence of blockchain and AI in global trade finance scenarios, further expanding the XRP ledger's technical frontier in enterprise-grade real-world use cases. Talks about when the XRP ledger was officially launched and by who. Talks about how LinkLogic is committed to empowering supply chain finance through technology and promote intelligence and sustainability across the industry, with the goal of becoming a leading global digital solutions provider. Since 2019, LinkLogic has built a cross-border business under its Go Early and Go Deep strategy, serving customers in 27 countries and regions worldwide and processing 20.7 billion in cross-border transactions in 2024. Goes on to talk about in 2023, LinkLogic, together with the BIS, the Bank of International Settlements Innovation Hub, Standard Charter, upon which are investors in Ripple directly, RD Technologies and Simmons & Simmons, advanced the Project Dynamo asset tokenization initiative. In the same year, the Monetary Authority of Singapore released a white paper on digital money and launched Project Guardian as part of Project Guardian's LinkLogic and Standard Charters conducted the asset-backed security token pilot that successfully issued the industry's first tokenized products backed by trade assets, making it a key component of the initiative. This is pretty big, to be honest. Again, one of China's leading companies in the sort of supply chain arena, finance supply chain, are now looking to integrate the XRP ledger. This is huge. We're going to see a lot more of these partnerships, I believe, as time goes on. I think the interesting thing is, if you talk about the world and the value out there in regards to the dollar values on assets that can be tokenized, it's in the hundreds of trillions. Today, in total, we have around about $26 billion worth of real world assets. Not 1 trillion, not 100 billion, 26 billion. XRP alone could bring hundreds of billions, potentially one day trillions. And that's a future that we're moving towards. It's a very exciting sort of investment proposition. XRP is currently 9th. I think with everything that it's got going on, there was a jump, but it kind of reverted, and that was due to Vert Capital. They're doing some interesting things in South America or Brazil in regards to tokenized kind of agriculture to be used in a number of ways. That's an interesting video we could perhaps make. But I think, this is going to exponentially grow. And I think what we're seeing coming out of China and LinkLogic is a great step in the right direction. As far as price action is concerned, guys, you all know the plan. We're holding for $19.27. That's our price prediction. We've given that since it was 30, 40 cents. We're about 400% up. I think XRP this time last year was about 60 cents. And still, people are complaining. That's nearly a 400% gain in a year. Only in crypto can that be a disappointment to people. We do ultimately think we get that broader return when we get to $19.27. I'll be very happy with that. It's likely going to go above and beyond that in the future, but that's certainly where we see technical merit. And that plan really hasn't changed, and we're just following it. I ultimately think that what we could be doing in the more immediate time frame is setting up some sort of continuation structure in the form of a pennant. Little bit low slung for me in regards to this pennant, but we shall see how this plays out. You've really got to contend at the moment, I'm afraid, with the sort of summer doldrums for markets, the seasonality with markets. September, August, or August, September, I should say, typically not the best months in the world for the markets. However, on the back end of that, we've got the best months of the year ahead of us. I think XRP actually could even get to that $19.27 before the year's out. Bold predictions take place in 4 months, but that could be the case. We shall see. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you all. It's always a pleasure. Huge news. We wanted to report on it. I'll see you all in the next one.